Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bricks and Dragons. Today we're working on Act 2, on the road for our Fallout Once Upon a Time in a Wasteland. Yesterday, we did Act 1 of the Boston Ruins. So this is continuing this on. I'm trying to get a little egg sandwich out of my tea, so I apologize if I have to take a little extra break once in a while to get something out of there. Just trying to kind of hurry this along. I'm starting a little later than I expected here. Okay, so grab a drink and something to munch on as we listen to this, and I'll start reading here. Alright, Act 2, on the road. The next morning, Rast shares jerky made from an unknown meat with the PCs for breakfast, unless it was eaten by the wild dog during the events of Act 1, which we had scared the dog off. The first night, or in Act 1, the first night, Rast remains reserved and thoughtful, and again mentions wanting to investigate the warehouse on the way to Diamond City. If the player characters cannot be convinced to explore the warehouse, they may bypass it and proceed to Act 3, the Stinking Labyrinth. We're going to at least get into the warehouse. If it seems like it's running a little long, then we may have to make an extra one out of here, so we'll see how far we can get here. Alright. I'm going to read this here. In a small clearing among burned out buildings is an old warehouse not much larger than a house. Its windows are barred on the outside and appear to be boarded up from inside. Its entrance is a set of wide doors held shut by two heavy padlocked chains. A rusty sign near the door reads, "Green Brothers and Company, no parking, keep clear." Spray painted beneath the sign in faded red letters are the words, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here." Alright, so scene 1, approaching the warehouse. So, a family of ghouls, and this is kind of extra stuff here again. Family of ghouls from Diamond City knew that they were beginning to show signs of going feral from long-term mental degeneration rather than risk going mad and hurting their neighbors. But unable to end their own lives, they quickly made the decision to find a place they could trap themselves and live out their last sane days. A friend locked them in a warehouse, and they reinforced the barriers from within. The members of the family were forced to watch their loved ones go feral, one at a time. The mother was the last to turn. Breaking into the warehouse, the PCs investigate the area around the warehouse, find only one entrance. The raised yard behind the warehouse is littered with wood scrap, a broken chain link fence, and other junk. The building itself does not appear to have been disturbed from the outside or broken into recently. The chains barring the door are relatively new and not rusted, though the iron bars on the windows show signs of severe rusting. The player characters can break into the warehouse one of the following ways. We have 4 ways here. A PC can break in forcibly. To do so, they must either use a heavy object to break off the padlocks on the chain door, or break off a rusted iron bar and burst through the wooden boards on the inside of the window. 2. In either case, breaking in creates a lot of noise. That alerts the feral ghouls inside. To break in, the PC must make a strength plus athletics test with a difficulty of 2. So, I would say if the windows look a little like the great, or the bars in the windows look a little more rusted, I would try that way. But let me finish reading this before I do anything else here. Allow the PCs to succeed at a cost, generating 2 AP for your pool of action points if they fail. A PC can pick the 2 heavy padlocks and break the heavy chains, barring the front door by making a perception plus lockpick test with a difficulty of 1. If they pass their test, they can open the door. And number 4 here, after opening the door, the PCs may burst down the wooden boards nailed to the inside of the door to enter the warehouse, which will alert the ghouls within. If a PC wishes to proceed without alerting the ghouls, they must pass an intelligence plus stealth test with a difficulty of 2 to loosen the nails and carefully remove the boards one at a time. Just kind of spitting this out here. I don't know if I'm going to be that smart, and I would probably just kind of, have at her, right? Go for the gusto. So, I already said what I was thinking of doing. I mentioned about the bars, so we will make that decision. Oh, sorry, my nose is running after having a sandwich here. Okay. So, I need a strength and athletics. So I'm going to look at my characters and just see who's got the best strength to begin with. Alright, that's Marvin, our Mr. Handy. His athletics is probably not very good. Well, he does have 2 ranks, so that's a 10 or better. And I'm going to use one other person to help, so that's going to give me 3 dice. So I've got a 10 or less to try and make it here, and I only get 1. All right, so keep in mind what the book was saying is now that can give me 1 action point to give towards the players here, and I know I do terrible. We'll see how the combat goes. I'll try and keep it a little abbreviated here. But we will go through, so if you're still trying to learn the system, still trying to learn how combat works, we will kind of go through that. Oh, excuse me. Alright, success at cost. At times, you can allow the players to succeed at a cost when they fail a test. If you do, the player characters pass their skill test, but can't spend action points to improve their outcome. In exchange, you can choose one or more complications or bank 2 action points per complication if you can't think of anything at the time. So at this point, me as a game master, I might throw in like an extra ghoul when they come out, just a smaller combat or something like that. Alright, so we have Scene 2, House of Ghouls. When the player characters enter the warehouse, read the following. The inside of the building is dark and entirely unlit, but for a few rays of light shining through fist-sized holes in the ceiling. The rows of metal shelves are mostly bare, having long since been picked over by scavengers. Excuse me. Rast steps inside and clicks on a flashlight, shining a beam down the center aisle. Crouched over sits a ghoul, a young woman with scraps of flesh falling haphazardly away from her cheeks. She is chewing on her own arm, slurping decayed meat from the bone while she stares off blankly at something in the dark. Encounter A2. Or 2A, I'm sorry. Feral ghouls. The tragic family here consists of 6 feral ghouls. Okay, so that's pretty substantial already. Knowing that how bad I do, I'm only going to limit down to 3 because I know I'm going to do horrible, and I'm probably going to lose a character here. But it's supposed to be 6 feral ghouls, an elderly mother and father along with 4 of their adult children. Sad situation here. If the PCs alerted the ghouls to their presence by making too much noise, which we would have, They are immediately attacked by 3 of the ghouls springing from or for them from where they entered. The ghouls are able to act first before everyone's initiative score. Okay. So they go first no matter what. If the PCs also failed any of their tests or forcibly break into the warehouse, 2 additional ghouls attack them in the first round of combat. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the ghouls 2 rounds of attack before my characters attack. That's going to be their and I'm still going to leave it at 3. So we'll go through it in that regard, and we'll see how good or bad I do. Hopefully good. All right. Let's see if they do manage to enter quietly. They see 3 ghouls rushing towards the light of the open entrance, but the PCs at the front of the group can act first before acting in initiative order. Now, I just do it very simple. I just pick the ghouls and us, and I just leave it at that. And if you're familiar with how I do things, I always try to err on the side of the players. So if I make a mistake, I try to make it more beneficial to the players. They do better, especially my best friend. He gets some really good luck from time to time. Me myself, for playing over the years, I've always heard everyone make the same comment. I do roll really nicely for the opposing force, and it's not something that I try to do. It's not something I intend to do. It's just something that happens. I'll roll really crummy for my side, and I'll roll really good for theirs. And you've seen me have my characters almost killed off, or they should have been killed off a couple times. And I acknowledge that. That's why I'm trying to leave combat a little bit more. I'll kind of show the bones of how to get going on this in these videos, but I'm not going to go through the full combat because I've just pretty much have come to terms my characters are probably going to die. Okay. This encounter is a good time to discuss the concept of targeting hit locations and injuries. When the PCs make an attack, they may choose to target a specific hit location by increasing the difficulty of the test by 1. If they do not target a hit location on a hit, they roll a d20 and consult the hit location table. Starter rules, page 26. So let me get the starter rules. That way I've got it handy, so when I'm trying to figure things out here. And it's in the box. No, it's not in the box. I think I'm looking at the starter rules on the top of the box here. No, I'm not. I've got the book out here somewhere. I'm just trying to figure out where I put it. So this is not the starter rules. This is the adventure, and the starter rules is going to be in the box. Somehow I've misplaced it for a second here. So we will manage on here. Okay. I do have a pretty good idea of what we're doing because I've been doing the Star Trek as well, but bear with me, and if I mess it up, I apologize. Alright. When a character inflicts 5 or more damage to a single attack after resistance, they score a critical hit and the hit location suffers an injury. That body part becomes injured. Unless it is already injured, in which case there is no further effect. Stimpaks can be used to treat the injury, removing the penalty if a Stimpak is used this way. It does not heal hit points. Very similar to what we did in the Star Wars, in the Fallout role-playing game. If you lose a body part or whatever, you could do a Stimpak right to that, and then it restores that, but it didn't So that is very much right off of the rules here. Um, you can reference starter rules page 29 for a list of hit locations, and we have a die here. So if you don't have the special die, there is a list as to what's what. So of course we have the die, so we should be good here. Let me get I'm going to use our other figures that I've been using on our Star Trek, because I only need 3, and as luck has it, I have 3 of them. Alright, and I got a little pad of paper here, so I think we should be good. Flip the page one more time, and here we go. Okay, so the ghouls are going to have 2 rounds. Now, they don't have weapons from my unarmed body for an attack, and it's an unarmed, it's body and melee with a target number of 8. Alright, so they're going to have to run. So I'm going to say they're at long distance, they get to medium, that's 1, and then they get to short, that's 2 rounds. Now they're all going to get to roll, and I'm going to roll 2. They have to have an 8 or less. I have a 3 and a 17, that's a miss, yellow. 3 and an 18, that's a miss, white. 20 and a 20, that's a that's a critical miss. I'm not doing anything for critical misses. If you and your group are doing something like they hurt themselves instead, maybe that attack just hits them, by all means. You know, maybe this is the girl that was chewing on her own arm and her arm fell off. I don't know. You know, it would be funny in a way, sad and tragic, but it would be funny in a very grotesque way, and I'm not going to deny that. And if it lightens the mood and keeps things kind of, I prefer to keep things a little on the humorous side, so however you want to do it. But all 3 of them failed. Now it's our characters' turns, so I'm going to pull out my character sheets, and remember, these are the same pre-generated ones. The only one I don't have a sheet for in my hand is the good doctor, but I'm going to consider him as a pacifist. He's going to hold the flashlight, he'll defend, but he's not going to attack. Mainly because I don't have this here, and I'll just leave it at that, and we'll just go from there. So, let's see, we have our Marvin. Now he's got a buzz saw, so he's got a target number of 11. Okay, so he misses. Whoops, you didn't see all that. Okay, I had a 19 here, and let me see if I can't bring that down just a little bit, Mary. I have a 19 and a 9. Now you have to get 2 successes. So he only got 1, so our Mr. Handy, Marvin here. I do have a better droid, I just have to find him. And I wasn't thinking about it during the week or yesterday, because I was kind of... Now he's there, but he's not going to attack. And then our group is kind of offset like that. Alright, so he misses. And then we have Augusta. Now this is our Vault Dweller, so that's that young lady. So that's going to be a 10mm pistol, and I have a target number of 7. So I have an 11 and an 18. I miss. And then we have Bailey. That's our ghoul. That's that one over there. And she's got a pipe gun. You can use a pipe gun or pipe wrench. It doesn't matter. Actually, oh no, I can't use baseball grenade. We're standing on top of them. So I'm going to use, I could use the pipe gun or pipe wrench. We already have gunfire going, so if there's any other ghouls, it would alert them. And keep that in mind too. If you're using stuff that makes sound, you would alert more, because it happens in the game. Either way, I have an 8, I have a 20 and a 15, so we're not doing very good here. And then we have Happy Tom Doyle, which I think we were doing that one for whatever. He's just got long hair. He He's got a pipe gun. He's also got knuckles. But seeing that he's back just a little bit, he's going to have to use the pipe gun. And he's only got a 6. So, yeah, that failed. Now it's back to the ghouls. So our ghouls have a target number of 8. So ghoul 1 failed, 2 fails, and then 3 fails. Alright, so to try and speed this along, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my characters succeed in all of them. Just trying to speed this up a little bit. That way we get to see how things go. So we're going to have Marvin. Now he's going to use his buzzsaw because he's right there. So if I was to roll 2 of them and I said I got a 2 and a... He's got an 11, so we'll say a 2 and 11. It's very far-fetched for me to roll today. So that's what I would have. Now, he does 4 damage. I could either do a called shot as to where I was trying to hit, but that would mean I'd have to roll a 3rd die. So I'm not doing a called shot. What I am doing, though, is I'm going to roll, and I got left leg. Alright? So now whatever damage I do goes to the left leg. So I do 4 damage. Now, the buzzsaw has piercing 1. So what I don't have is the book for piercing 1. I think piercing 1, I think that might add a second, I do believe it adds a second possible critical. Trying to remember exactly. In the Star Trek or whatever, if this was going against a ship, that would be a second possible hull breach. But for this one, it would be possibly a second critical. Now, the ghouls, so I'm going to say it's the white one here, has 8 hit points, has body of 5, defense of 1. All right. Okay. So it has a defense of 1, so that means that one of these automatically comes out of there, just, keeping it simple. So I lose one of those from the defense, right? And then it's the body. I have a body of 5. So if I go back here and I look into the original stuff, where it really kind of talked about how combat works, which is still kind of nice, because you can always kind of go back and reference this. Let's see, because when we had Rad Rocky and his Raiders, dun, da, da, da. Okay, and here again it also references going to the book, and unfortunately I don't know where I set that book. I'm going to pause here a second and I'll find it. Okay, so I couldn't find a little book, but I did pull out the big book here. So far we're doing everything right. I'm just doing generic here. I'm trying to keep this very simple for the ghouls. I'm not looking for alright, here, let me kind of show you here. Trying to figure out where I'm going with things here. Alright, there's the book. Alright. So when we look at the ghouls, they give us a nice little readout, but there's no hit locations or anything else. So we just have a defense of 1. They don't have any real stuff on them. No armor, no nothing. In comparison to when we look at, and I'm going to say here's Marvin. So Marvin, just like any other character, I have optics. I have a 2. I have arms are 2, main body's 2, another arm, and then thruster. So, and this even says as to what locations. So if I roll a 1 and a 2, 12 to 14, 9 to 11, 3 to 8, all that. So you can try and get that sense. I'm just keeping this in a very basic sense for the ghouls. Okay, so I had 3 points that went through. They got damaged. Ghoul, we will do Ghoul white, yellow, and then red. They all started off with 8 hit points, and it is now down to 3. 8, or down to 5. Took 3 damage. Okay. Now with the piercing, shoot, and I just had that, and oh, so here's the whole thing. The piercing avoids any toughness or whatever else. That goes straight through armor. So those will automatically go through, but one of these did not. So if everything had rolled up as the symbols here, it all would have gone through. That's what piercing did. So that's what we have for Marvin here. Alright, now we have Augusta, which is our Vault Dweller. So that's that character. And then what we're going to say is, and I'm not doing any called shots because I'm just saying it's, and this is just how things kind of go. I would say she's probably going to aim more towards like the red one because it's kind of closer. Or if, actually, why don't I say if he's a pacifist, they're going to shoot at yellow to keep him safe. That makes a little bit more sense in my little mind here. Okay, so she's going to use a 10mm pistol, and we're pretending that she hit because I rolled terrible here. All right, so we actually had a really good hit. So we got 5 damage. It's going to -1, so it's going to be 4 that goes through on the yellow. So the yellow is now at 4, and then we have Bailey, who's our ghoul here in the red, and she was using a pipe pistol. Now she only has 3 dice to roll, and that would be 4 -1, so that's another 3, so we're at 5. And then we have Tommy Doyle here, and he was using his pipe pistol, so that's a 3, and 2 points go through, so the yellow is now down to 2 points. Okay, so we'll do another regular round, see how this goes. Remember, they got to get an 8 or better, or 8 or lower, I should say. And there's a 1. Now this is a critical, so that would mean that they would actually succeed. So white here succeeds. Nope, and no. All right. So now they have an unarmed combat. They do 3 radioactive damage. So if I do that, 1 radioactive damage, but it doesn't do anything to our Mr. Handy here. Still, that's 4 points. 2, and I'll roll a die here. Let's see, to the 18. Alright, so 18 is the thruster. And it has a physical of 2 resistance, so the thruster takes 2 points. So we'll have to just, jot it down, remind ourselves, whatever. I'm just keeping the combat light because we're trying to get through this. So I'm going to roll just real quickly, although I, just for this round, and then if it doesn't make it, then I'll just say that they hit for the next round. Just trying to speed this up a little bit here. Okay, I got a 5 and a 17. That didn't make it. 5 and an 8 for Augusta. And she had a target number of 7, so that didn't work. Bailey, our ghoul there in the end, had an 8. Nope. And then Tommy has a 6. And of course that was a no. So I'm just going to do damage. Why not? Just to see how well this goes. Like I said, I roll terrible. So Marvin, using his buzzsaw again. That's 4 dice. I have 2 piercing. So 2 points go through on the white. So it's now at 3. This one gets negated because of its armor, and it's just how things go. We'll just end it here. We'll say we make it through just to kind of speed this along here. We keep going back and forth. Everyone makes it. We're fine. A couple of hit points lost or so. Nothing major is what we're going to say. And we'll try and see if we can't get this kind of worked up here a little bit. Alright. So it says here, a chance for the ghouls to shine. The toll mental degeneration takes on the mind of feral ghouls causes them to not attack each other or other ghouls. Oh, actually, so the one should not have been attacked. A player character who is a ghoul will not be targeted by the feral ghouls present, even if the PC attacks them or interferes with their meal plans. A ghoul PC that realizes or knows this can shine in this encounter by blocking the door, attacking feral ghouls without repercussion, or guarding their allies. The feral ghouls may attempt to push them out of their way by using the action to make a contested strength plus athletics. So you're going to roll their strength and athletics of the ghouls. Which I don't have a number here. So I have a body, mind, melee, guns, other, but I don't have a strength or whatever, so whatever it is. Not seeing anything, I'm just going to let it go. If the feral ghoul generates more successes on their test than the ghoul PC, they are able to push them one square out of the way. So now that we've killed them off, I'm going to kind of skip down here. It's explaining different things to go. Scavenging in the warehouse. Well, let me read it, because if you guys are listening. The ghouls begin the encounter at close range, which I did them at far range, but I gave them whatever. To any PC inside the warehouse, and at medium range to any PCs standing outside. At the start of each round, they can spend an action point to add more ghouls to the encounter, 2 AP per ghoul. Introduced this way to begin a long range from the PC, so then it goes down. Drawn out from the nearby ruined buildings by the noise of the battle. Let's see, the ghouls have an inventory. We have 3 pieces of junk, which I'm not going to write down. And then we're going to go into scavenging in the warehouse, and we may have to end it here for today, because we're getting to about a half hour, and like I said yesterday, my upload and all that has been having a lot of problems, so I'm trying to keep this a little shorter. So scavenging in the warehouse. If the PCs clear the warehouse, which we were saying we did, they can search the warehouse with passing a perception and survival test with a difficulty of 0. They make a number of rolls equal to the minimum of each item category on the loot table found in the back of this booklet, and can spend 1 action point per roll to make additional rolls up to the category's maximum. Warehouse loot tables. So we do have a little table here. Let's see, perception and survival. 6, 6, 6, and a 5. Survival 2. So I've got an 8 or better. I'm going to roll, and it's probably going to be horrible. And I don't find anything. So if this was all for naught, in my game it would have been all for naught. And it's just the way I roll, and I understand that. Alright, so family keepsakes. An aged child's drawing of the ghoul family holding hands in front of a tree. A cheap locket in the shape of a heart. A moldy self-help book titled Being the Best You, a catcher's mitt and baseball, and several stuffed animals. Raz suggests that the PCs rest and recover in the warehouse before continuing. He treats any lingering injuries the PCs may have. They spend several hours digging a grave for the family of feral ghouls. He appears to others to be partially upset about the young woman's fate, but refuses to speak about it on his own supposed daughter, only saying that it's a damn shame. At the end of the scene, characters can gain a level. So I'm not gaining levels here, I'm just trying to keep things going along, which would probably help me, but we're just kind of going along here. So everyone's health would increase by 1. Each player chooses another skill. So this is actually the second time you'd be leveling up. Each player gains a choice of a new perk based on their requirements. Once the PCs have leveled up and rested, it is time for them to finish their trek to Diamond City. So then we have Act 3, which we will hit, or I start a little early tomorrow, so I'll try to make a very good effort to make sure I get this done before I go off to work, and hopefully even today, running a little bit behind, I'm hoping I can get this all uploaded and that. So with that, I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so very much for joining me around the pool table. I know it's going a little slower. It's taking a little bit longer. I'm putting these up more days instead of having one longer video. Like I said, I'm having issues with my upload. I don't know why I am. I've done the longer videos before and I didn't have this issue, but either way, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.